think about that. I love it. No pressure. All right. So guys, yesterday, I'm gonna hit these lights real quick. Yesterday, we started looking at decimals, and really we were looking at how they were related to fractions, right? So we had something similar to this that we wrote in our notebook, our little place value chart. I said that something over here is represented and something over here is represented. So guys, if I was talking about whole numbers, like 15, 48, or 2,376, would that go on the left side of the decimal, or would those whole numbers go on the right side of the decimal? AP? Guys, they would go on the left side because this is where your whole numbers go. These over here are my parts of a whole. So over here, I have my ones, my tens, my hundreds, my blah, blah, blahs all the way down. If I have one number after a decimal, Rowan, that would be tenths. And if I had two numbers after the decimal, Carson D, that would be hundredths, my parts of a whole. So before we go into some new stuff, let's just review real quick. Let me see if anybody can read this for me. Please don't say 0.6. Please don't say 0.6. Please don't say 0.6. Murad, how would you read that?
0 and 6.
Attaboy, 0 and 6/10. How would we read this? Leslie?
0 and 6800.
0 and 6800. How about this? We didn't look at any like that yesterday, so that's what we're moving towards. Lola?
9 and 6800.
9 and 6800. So I think I could give you guys a bunch of different decimals, and you would be able to read it. We looked at tenths and hundredths yesterday. But before we get to that new stuff, I do want to look at a couple of things that we looked at yesterday. Because when I looked at, you did that sheet yesterday with 9 questions, right?
Yes.
Some people, not some, a lot of people did great. Ton of hundreds. But guys, it was either people were getting hundreds or they were missing 3 or 4 and getting into 60s. The fractions were great. The decimals were not so great. Raise your hand if you can tell me what fraction of picture number 1 is shaded. Like that would be one where I would expect every single person in here, every single person on this hallway to be able to tell me that. Tonight, what do you say? One more time? 4/10. Are y'all going with 4/10?
Yes.
Now look, I can show that as a different fraction too. Because can't I always go from tenths to hundredths?
Yes.
What's another fraction I could use to represent that? Even though 4/10 is really what I'm looking for. Mason? Nah, bro, I'm right here. Friendly?
1400.
Guys, I could just add some zeros. This would also be represented by 40 hundredths. But I could also take both of those fractions and show them as what?
Decimals.
Who can come up here and show me one of the decimals that would represent what's shaded there? Queenie, come do one of them. And I'm going to have you pass them on through the next. Y'all good with that?
Yes.
0 and 4/10. Queenie's going to give it to somebody to do that next decimal, please. 8, come on up. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Sweet. I could represent that amount shaded 4 different ways. Thank you, man. Now, Mason, let's come over here. Mason, what do I have shaded in this grid?
16.
He's got 16 hundredths. Raise your hand for this one. You ain't know about to ask. Or maybe you do. John, you know, John thinks he knows what I'm gonna ask. All right, John, what's the answer? No, you tell me. What was I gonna ask?
Can this be into 10?
He nailed it. So John answered that question. Can I show this in tenths?
No.
I cannot. Y'all, I can take a 0 for my denominator. Can I do it up here?
No.
But I can show it one other way. Ron, you come up here and write it. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Cool. All this stuff we looked at yesterday, right?
Yes.
Now here is where I was hurting yesterday after question like number 3. First of all, who can tell me the fraction of what's shaded? I'm see if we learn from our mistakes. Carson, and what do I have shaded right here? 600. Can I show that fraction in tenths? I see heads nodding yes and people saying no. Guys, can I take 1 0 from 100?
Yes.
Absolutely. Can I take a 0 from 6?
No.
I cannot show that in tenths. Here is where I want you to show me, Mr. Huber, I paid attention yesterday. I listened to what you said on your whiteboard. And keep it covered. I want you to show me how you would write that as a decimal. 600. Now, I'm only going to give you like 15 seconds. Harrison, if you can hear me, you can chat them to me. Hopefully he can hear me. Markers down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you just hold them up for me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh my goodness, so many right answers. Hey, that's a huge improvement from yesterday. Let me write down what I saw. And I'm not surprised what I saw. Attaboy, Harrison. I saw this. I saw this. I saw this. I saw. Oops. I did not see that. I reversed it. I saw this. Y'all, I can tell who's being that crazy person and talking to themselves. Read this out loud.
600.
Read this out loud.
0
Read this out loud.
is 6
It's 6/10 the same as 600.
No.
Read this out loud again.
600.
Read this out loud.
0 is 1600.
Is 60 hundredths and 600ths the same?
No.
Now look at this one. We've only gone 2 numbers after the decimal, even though we did look at a third. Who can tell me what that would be? We're going to get there eventually. Alexa, what would that be? Not 6. You're close. William? It would be 0 and 600 thousandths, which again is completely different than this. Guys, if it's hundredths, how many numbers have to be behind the decimal? Anybody?
2.
And it's got to be the 0 in the front. If you put the 0 in the back like this right here, it gives you a completely different amount. So much better today. But I guarantee you this right here, a question like this could be the difference between your team being in first and second. You're going to see more like that. All right, last one of review before we get to the new stuff. Somebody give me a fraction for number 5, nope, number 4 of what is shaded there. AP, what do you say? 5/10. If somebody's come up here to show me, I'm not going to say anything. I just want to see a different way to represent that. Armani? No, pass the marker. Oh, nice. We can show that in hundreds. All right, Armani, give it to somebody else. Is there more? Apparently, there is more ways to write it. Armani, you can give it to anybody who's got their hand raised. Put down. So you got a decimal that matched the fraction that we wrote first, and then perfect. AP, you'll get somebody to take care of that last little bit, please. Melanie. So glad this happened. Let's be crazy people together. Let's read stuff. Let's talk to ourselves. Yes, ma'am. Let's read this out loud together. 50 hundredths. Let's read this out loud together.
0 and 5 hundredths.
Let's try that again because I heard some zeros.
0 and 5.
Is 50 hundredths and 5 hundredths the same?
No.
No. So for this one, if I just look at what I got in tenths, this would be one where I actually could add the 0 to the end. The only time, guys, you're gonna have the 0 in the front is if you've got a single digit numerator in your hundreds. I'm telling you, the more we practice with that, the easier it's gonna get. All right, now is your chance. If you have any questions on anything we just did, because from here it only gets more challenging. Carson M, what's up?
Wait, so 5 tenths is equal to 1/2. So can you show that 1/2?
Absolutely, 100%. But for decimals, they don't have a half. That's why we just do tenths and hundredths. Yeah, totally. You could say 40/80ths is equivalent to that. These are not the only ways you can represent it. But with the decimal, tenths and hundreds, that's the only thing you can do. Or thousands, we can keep going. Armani? Can't hear you guys, speak up.
Like the last one I said.
Yep. You wouldn't put this. We fixed that. That's the one we were correcting. Yes, Leslie.
When it was 6 and 100, is it always, it's not going to turn into a 10, right?
You can't. It's impossible to show that one in
How
tenths.
is it trying to turn into?
10 can always go to hundreds, but hundreds sometimes can go to tenths, just not always. Yes, Abe.
So if you want to do that, can you add to the 6, the 100? Right?
Yeah, I could change hundreds to thousands every time, as long as I'm adding zeros above. Yes, Deb.
Why don't we use the-
One more time, bro.
why don't we use
Well, that's our decimal. That's how we separate the whole number from the part of the whole. I think that's gonna be more clear in just a second. All right, let's talk money, people.
Yeah.
Close your eyes. Imagine a huge heaping pile of cash. All right, open your eyes. Did it look like this?
No, not really.
Man, no, it didn't look like that. Well, let's say you had that much money in your pocket. Now, guys, we're in 4th grade. I expect you know what a penny is and a dime is and a nickel, all that stuff. Raise your hand. If you had that in your pocket, how much money would you have? How much money would you have if that's what was in your pocket? Lola, what would you have? Excuse me. Now 7, guys, it's a dime, not a nickel. I'm back to you, Lola.
$1.
That's gonna be $1.12. And guys, if we had a price tag and something costs that much, that's how we would say it. We would say it $1.12. Let's imagine it's not money. And we just saw that decimal right there. Who could read that the proper way? We wouldn't say 1.12. Who can read that properly? CD, how would you read that?
1200.
Everybody got that? 1 and 12 hundredths. 2 numbers behind the decimal. Now, guys, this is where you got to think about your wholes and your parts of a whole. To the left, I have 1 whole because I have 1 whole dollar. This over here is part of my whole. Is 12 cents a whole dollar?
No.
It's just a part of it. So I can show 1 and 12 hundredths a different way. You guys remember looking at mixed numbers with fractions. We haven't looked at them a lot, but we kind of compared it to trail mix. When you open up a bag of trail mix, you got M&Ms and pretzels and this and that, right? With a mixed number, you have a whole number and a fraction, a part of a whole. So if I wanted to show this a different way, I could say 1 and 12 hundredths. You recognize that now? Oops. Let's pretend that's 100. And you have to talk to yourself. 1 and 12 hundredths. 1 and 12 hundredths. Now you would never see a mixed number on a price tag, but they represent the same amount. 1 whole dollar, part of a dollar. 12 out of 100. Okay, so get another one of these. Ooh, we got a little bit more money. Yes. We're moving up in the world. How much money we got now? Mama upped our allowance. How many of y'all get allowance? Do any of y'all get allowance? Dude, you're so lucky. It is.
That's the best.
If my parents came in here right now, they would say that you are crazy. They would call me crazy If I said, hey, can I get some money for doing the dishes? Man, I
I'd
wish I-
clean a whole week, a house
need a-
for a week.
I'm
and
gonna
I
move
got
in with y'all.
$10.
All right, how much money we got, Ava?
$2.30.
Does everybody go with $2.34?
Yes.
All right, so that's how you would say it if we were talking money. If we're just talking straight decimals, how would we read that number? Sam, how you gonna read that? So think about what do we say when we have that decimal? 2.
And
6. He's on the right track. 2 and 34
$34.
hundredths. 2 numbers after the decimal. Now let me ask you this. Could I show this hundredths in tenths?
Yes.
Y'all, look, I'd rather you be wrong than loud. Don't wait for somebody else to say something. Can I show this in tenths?
No.
Guys, I can't. Can I take a 0 from this?
No.
I can't do it. But I can show it as a what? Not a fraction, a
Mixed
mixed number. Technically the same, but guys, this is my whole number. This is part of my whole because I have 2 whole dollars and my 34 cents is just part of another. So if I were to write this as a mixed number, and you guys are going to get a chance to do this in a second, 2 would be the whole number in my mixed number, and my fraction would just be from my part of a whole. Sam just said 34 hundredths. And I would not move on until I read them out loud. 2 and 34 hundredths, 2 and 34 hundredths. I'm good. Anybody have questions on those before I let you give one a shot? Yes, Leslie. Yes, speak up.
When you put it that 2 and 34 hundredths, is it why you said hundreds at the end? That's why you put it 100?
Yes. And if it was tenths, I would do the same, except my denominator would be a 10. Yes, Ab.
So basically it's like the way we did it yesterday, but we just stacked it up.
Yeah, look, the only thing that's different from yesterday, guys, we were only dealing with parts of a whole. We didn't have a whole number on the left. The only thing that's different is today we got some holes. Y'all excited? We got a big race. We did extra dishes.
Whoa!
Raise your hand if you can tell me how much money we got. We must have scrubbed some toilets for that. That was part of the reason the toilet's dirty. I'll see how y'all eat. I'm just saying. Hey, this would be awesome if we can all say it at the same time and like in unison and it's correct. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. $12.26. Great. That is what it would look like on a price tag. Who can read that the proper way? The math, if we were just talking decimals. John,
12 and 26.
now is your chance to show me you've been watching. I know I can't show this in tenths because I can't take a 0, but I can show it as a mixed number on your whiteboard. 15 seconds. I want you to show that as a mixed number. Don't need to look at anybody else's board. Keep your eyes on your own. Everybody else should keep your board covered. About 10 more seconds. Markers down at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Before we put them up, remember I told you from the beginning, the teams that are going to do well today are going to be the people that are really, really watching and really, really paying attention. Guys, we just did a couple of these, right? My expectation would be that we can do it. If you have questions, you got to ask them. All right, go ahead and hold those up for me. You look right here, guys. You don't need to look at anybody else's board. Guys, look, we got a lot. Look, we got a lot of right answers. We got a ton of right answers. But I got some people who aren't even close because they're not listening. Like I got people trying to give me decimals. Guys, I needed a mixed number. So remember, I've got 12 whole dollars. So my whole number is going to be what? And then my part of my whole, read this. This is and 26. That would have been 12 and 2600. Like that. I can only show that amount two different ways. Like this. We got more practice coming. All right, take somebody to read. Yes, please. Because guys, when we're looking at decimals, we're not only looking at money. Brittany, go ahead.
A squirrel can weigh 1 6400 pounds. There are different ways to represent 1 6400.
I'm so glad he read that correctly and didn't just say 1.64 or 1.64. How many of you guys have a scale at your house? Okay, if you go home and step on that scale, you're going to see, if it's a digital scale, you're going to step on it and you'll see a decimal. I try not to step on my scale because usually it shows me a number I don't want to see. And as I say that, I've got 3 boxes of Girl Scout cookies over there. I'm probably going to destroy this weekend, so I definitely won't step on my scale. But with this decimal, raise your hand. Can I show this in tenths? Just raise your hand. Can I show that decimal in tenths? William? Be confident, dude. I don't care if you miss it. Yes or no? He says yes. Who agrees? So, okay, so a lot of people don't agree. Why can I not show it in tenths? Devin? Guys, I got to take a 0. I can't take a 4. I got to take a 0. Can I show this as a mixed number?
Yeah.
Who's brave? Ava's brave. Before you write it, I want you to read that decimal one more time.
1 6400.
Okay. Read what you just wrote.
6400.
And then read this. They sound the same. No, this is the benefit. So what would you need to add to this to make it sound like this? That's it. So you see that? That's why you do that, because she read them. She noticed they didn't match. I said, how do you fix it? She said, put a 1 in here. That's it. Now when you read them, 1 and 6400, read her mixed number. 1 and 6400. Perfect, David. Great job. Be crazy and talk to yourself. I promise you it helps. Now here's where your points are going to come in today. Questions like this. Guys, I could also show this with a visual. I got a couple grids up here. They are both cut into hundredths because my decimal is in hundreds. That makes sense, right? Okay, now guys, the number to the left of the decimal, those are whole numbers. This is parts of a whole. So if I gave you that decimal and I said, show me what that would look like on my grid, does anybody think they would have an idea of what they would have to do? Listen to what I'm saying. You've got 1 whole pound and then part of another pound. John, what do you think I would do here?
You would fill up all the way the grid on the left side.
Shade the whole thing? John says I'm shading this whole thing in. To save time, I'm going to be lazy and do it that way. Okay?
And then you shade it in 64 squares on the other one.
John, that is perfect. That picture matches exactly what it says. 1 whole pound, 1 whole grid. 64 hundredths of another one, 64 hundredths right here. So even though my whole number is only 1, I would have to show that with 2 grids. Guys, if this said the squirrel can weigh 7 pounds, which that wouldn't be a squirrel, that'd be a cat, I'd have to shade in how many whole grids? 7. So that was perfect, John. This over here, your whole number tells you how many whole grids you have. To the right, that's your part of a whole. So I got a couple of those we can look at. It's like, any of y'all's parents do Amazon?
Yeah.
Dude,
Definitely. Yes.
I would say of 7 days out of the week, I say 4 of them, I go home and there's an Amazon package on my porch. And it's not me, it's probably Laura's gonna run us through. All right, a package that weighed, I'm gonna read it wrong. 2.7, that should say pounds. 2.7 pounds was mailed to my house. It says, think about what grid you should use. Before we get to the grids, who can read that the proper way? Mason?
2 and 7. Or 7 tenths.
Attaboy. 2 and 7/10. I'm not gonna say anything other than who can come show it a different way. Alexa. And there might only be one way, there might be multiple ways. Guys, she took that decimal and wrote it exactly how it's supposed to look as a mixed number. If I read those out loud, they would match. Anybody think there's another way to show it? Oh, Alexa, people think there's more. Go you want. Interesting. She's thinking. All right, John, let's see what you got. You can put it anywhere. It doesn't have to be right next to it. So he took our mixed number 2 and 7/10 and he thought, hey, I can always go tenths to hundreds. He showed that as 2 and 70 hundredths. Great, John. Is there another way I could show it? Oh man, we still got people who think they can show it another way. Right now, I've got 1 decimal, I've got 2 mixed numbers. All right, Brentley, do you have what it takes, sir? He's smiling through his mask. Oh, no, don't draw me a picture. I love that, but no picture. But while you're up here, if I've got 2 mixed numbers in 1 decimal, perfect. Guys, I can always go tenths to hundreds. So I could have said 2 and 7/10 or 2 and 70 hundredths, and then I could have taken both of those and written them as mixed numbers. Awesome. Awesome. But what Brentley was getting to was this. If I needed to show my package in an image, 2 and 7/10. Notice my grids are in tenths, as they should be. Who can explain how that would need to be shaped? Samuel, what do you say? Aiden, help him out.
So you would shade in 2/3.
She looked at the left side of her decimal. She saw it's 2 whole pounds, so 2 whole grids,
And then you do the third one, just 7.
and then 7/10 of the last one. Great job. Awesome, Aiden. Anybody have any questions why she steered me in that direction? Y'all are filling me with a bunch of confidence right now and a bunch of hope. Nobody's asking questions. I'm thinking we're gonna crush this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I trust you. Your point opportunities are coming. I think you've only got, yeah, your point opportunities come. I'm gonna skip this one and go straight to this one. I ran 2.72 miles in a day. You heard somebody say it like that. You say, no, sir. Let me correct you. How would you read that decimal? Guys, that should be everything. That part should be everything. Armani, what do you think? Perfect. 2 and 72 hundredths. Can I show that decimal in tenths? Where to go on? Can I show that decimal in tenths? Aiden.
No,
Why not?
because it doesn't.
Add a girl. I cannot take a 0. But I could show it as a mixed number. Lola, if you will come write that, I don't care where, as a mixed number. And before you walk away, Lola, will you read this one more time? Let me read that one time. I'm fully confident in that answer. Thank you, Lola. Yo, leave it right there. Now, who? Don't put your hands up like you know what I'm gonna say. Okay, who's gonna watch my car after school?
Me?
Who's gonna change Chandler's diapers this evening?
I will.
Bro, you trust me.
thank you.
Trust me, you don't want any part of that. Who can come up here and shade this grid correctly? I'm gonna have Lola pick since she was just up here. Lola, if you will choose somebody to come up and shade for us, please. All right, rolling. All right, she completely shaded 2 of them because she has 2 whole miles. You're good. And 72 hundredths of the other. Great job, Rowan. Awesome job. Yes, a word form would just be if we were to write it out, we would literally just write 2 and 72 hundredths, but you'll never see it in word form. All right, I have one last thing to show you because this is where your points are going to come from with your team. It's kind of the opposite of what we've been doing. For your point opportunities with your team, I'm going to give you the picture. I'm giving you the grids. And you're going to have to come up with the mixed number and the decimal just by looking at it. So guys, that means if I have a decimal, I've got to figure out what my whole number is and the part of my whole. And the same thing with my mixed number. I got to figure out my whole number and what part of my whole is shaded. So first thing I would do is I would look at my grids and see how many entire grids are shaded. What should my whole number be with this picture? How many whole grids are shaded? Guys, you got 2 eyeballs on these right there. Samuel, how many whole grids are shaded? First of all, answer this. How many grids do you see? 2, right? How many of them are completely filled in? 2. Personnel. Guys, look over on the left. This thing is completely filled in. So my whole number goes on the left side of my decimal. 1 and the part of my whole, is it going to be in tenths or is it going to be in hundredths? Hundredths, right? So I know I'm going to have 2 numbers. Who can tell me what would be on the right side of that decimal? What's shaded? Take a second and look up there. Queen? Let's go 48.
Yes.
That would be 1 and 48 hundredths because I have 1 entire grid shaded, 48 pieces of the other. How would I show that as a mixed number? Makes them come right. And before he walks away, we're going to read it out loud, both of them. Yes, it's a mixed number, so you don't need that decimal. Sorry. No, he's good. He's what we're supposed to do. Read this out loud. 48 what? Right? Read this out loud. What do you need to do that denominator? And look, that's twice now just from us reading it out loud. I didn't tell them what to do. From reading it out loud, they know what they need to fix. So we got 1 and 48 hundredths for both of those. Thank you, sir. Now, could I show either of those in tenths? Yes or no?
No.
Could not do it. So what you guys are going to do is I'm going to give you a grid or I'm going to give you a picture. You got to give me a decimal and you have to give me a mixed number. I think I'm going to have you do 3 of them. These are going to be your only point opportunities. Yes, Abe.
the second grid because it looks like it's got eyes. Or you can like make it look at.
That is kind of fancy, I guess. I think that's a compliment. All right, when you finish, you're not gonna bring it to me, you're just gonna flip it over, so I'm gonna call you by team. And to be honest, I'm not gonna give you a whole lot of time. Here is why I'm a little bit nervous. I've got 3 or 4 people, guys, who have not been participating, and when I look at them, they're not looking at me. On the opposite side, I've got people who are, every single question I'm asking, raising their hand, which is great. For every person on your team that gets the question right, you get 100 points. So since we do have a team of 4, if you go 3 for 3, you get 400 points. If you only get one person who gets it, you get 100. So every team's gonna get points. But the teams where everybody's contributing is gonna end up getting the most. So your first question or your first grids, maybe, are right here. If you have something that you can show 4 different ways, you don't need to. I just need to see 1 decimal and 1 mixed number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so there's your picture. When you think you have it, just flip your board over. And Harrison, you can just chat me yours. Just need 1 fraction, 1 decimal. About 30 more seconds till your marker's down. So marker's down in 3, 2, 1. Something I need you guys to do at your seats. You need to be looking around and make sure nobody has a marker in their hand as I'm calling teams up. Dangerous fellows, if you will bring me yours, and guys, do not erase them. Just bring them back to your seat. Do not erase. If you see somebody with a marker in their hand, you gotta tell me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He's not calling that. All right, dangerous fellows, you got 3 out of the 400 possible points. Madrigals, if you will bring me yours. Again, do not erase so you can see where your mistake was if you made one. Let's go, girls. Come on, quick, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, you also got 300 out of 400. That puts you at 400 points with your total you had. Dumbledore dominates. If you will bring me yours, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A perfect 400 points there. Extra unicorns. If you will bring me yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 300 points there puts them at 200 points. So far, every team doing very well. McDonald's Wi-Fi. If you will bring me yours. What's up, Queen? Sam, put your mark down. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Another 300 points. Math Heroes. If every team get 300 or more, I'll be happy with that. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. A perfect 400 points there. Last but not least, winter potatoes. I got Harrison's in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. 200 points there for the winter potato. That kind of went with what I expected based on what I saw participation-wise. Okay. Now, some mistakes we make, small, easy to fix. Let's go fraction first, mixed number first. I think that's the easiest way to start. What would my whole number be? Everybody look up here. What would my whole number have to be, Ava?
4.
Couldn't be 4.
Oh, great.
Rowan? It's got to be 3. It's got 3 full grids, 3 whole grids shaded. And I kind of cross them off as I use them. And then part of a whole. Well, guys, if my mixed number is using these grids, what does my denominator have to be, Alexa? Guys, I'm intense. What would my numerator be? Sanaya, what's shaded? That was the mixed number I was looking for, guys. 3 and 5/10. And if I were to write that as a decimal, how many numbers have to be after my decimal if it's in tenths? AP? 3 and 5/10. Those are the two I was looking for. You could have gone above and beyond, and you could have said, hey, I can show this in hundreds. And I can show this in hundreds. I was really only looking for this. If you gave me that though, awesome. Guys, I know who's reading their answers at the end. Because some people are giving me 3 and 5/10 as their mixed number. And then some people put this as their decimal. Read this out loud. 3 and
5/10.
3
and 500.
completely different. Got to read your answers. It's okay to talk to yourself. I think the two teams that had perfect scores there were the Math Heroes and Dumbledore Dominates. That's great. See if we can get more this time. Does anybody have a question before I give you another one? Oh, just making sure you heard me. Does anybody have a question on that one?
No.
Adam. Right. What's up? Okay. All right, this one might look similar. It's not the same. Honestly, I would expect us to Ric Flair this one. Again, just need a mixed number and a decimal. Please cover your boards, guys. I love seeing your answers, but cover. 30 more seconds. 8 from your board, please.
Attaboy, Harrison. Good job.
All right, let's go markers down in 3, 2, 1. You guys did good on marker patrol last time. If you would do the same for me. I'm going to go reverse this time. Winter potatoes, if you will bring me yours. Winter potatoes, let's go, guys. Quick. It needs to be fast. I just wanted to repeat. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. 200 points there. Math Heroes, if you will bring me yours, please. Thank you. Math Heroes, 2 in a row. Perfect. McDonald's Wi-Fi, if you will bring me yours. Quick, ladies, let's go. Come on. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. McDonald's Wi-Fi, perfect. Unicorns. Thank you. Extra unicorns, perfect. Getting something here. Dumbledore Dominates. If y'all will bring me yours. Thank you. Another perfect score. Andrew Gals, if you will bring me yours, please. Can we keep the streak alive? No pressure. Thank you. Thank you. What's up? Thank you. And thank you. Oh my goodness, another one. Another perfect score. You're on fire. And Dangerous Fellows, last but not least. If you will bring me yours, please. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. And thank you. 300 more for the Dangerous Fellows. That puts them at 600. Guys, if I was doing a mixed number, what would my whole number have to be? How is that only 6 hands when we had 18 people get that question right? Queen, what would it be? Y'all, I've got 3 whole grids shaded. What would my fraction be? What would the part of my whole, Mason, be? 3 and 2/10. If I were to write that as a decimal, 3 and 2/10, my whole number goes to the left. 3 and one number after the decimal. Again, guys, as long as you read these out loud, those sound the exact same. That one was much better than our first one. Even the first one was good. Does anybody have a question on that one? So I've got one last that I want to do. Question, Adam. You're good with the 3, right? So that's my whole. Is it more in the fraction or the decimal? I think the fraction, your mixed number was right, wasn't it? So with the decimal, your whole number, if you look at our chart, that goes on the left side of the decimal. So if I have 3 whole grids, I gotta put that over here. The right side of my decimal is my tenths or my hundredths. That grid, is it cut into tenths or hundreds? Well, look how many pieces do you see here? 10, right? So if it's in tenths, it's gotta be one number. How many do you see shaded? That's where I'm getting that number from. I saved this next one for last on purpose. Not that it's hard, but I think it's more challenging than this. And to get points for this one. Nope, I'm gonna keep doing what I was doing. All right, last one of these. Guys, the grids are different. Giving me the exact same information. I need a mixed number of what's shaded. I need a decimal of what is shaded. Sorry, make sure I got that. I should throw that. Harrison left, so he's no more ghosts. Now your perfect score is 300. Hey, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
I'm not worried about your mixed number at all. People are gonna miss this because they write the wrong decimal and because they did not say what they wrote out loud. When you are done, read your mixed number, read your decimal. If they sound different, think about how you can fix it. Like another minute. Sir, here, what'd you say? One second. Markers down in 3, 2, 1. Marker patrol, if you will, if you want to look at. After this one, let's put our boards and our markers away. So after you've been checked on this one, you can clear this. Dangerous Fellows, if you will bring me yours, I'm anxious. Look, I don't think we're gonna have as many perfect scores as we had last time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, out of a possible 300, if every team can get 200, I'll be stoked. They got 200 points there. Madrigals, if you will bring me yours. Don't be shy. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Another 200 points. Dumbledore dominates. Again, guys, when you've been checked, clear your desk, please. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. 200 more points on the board. Extra unicorns. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh, extra unicorns. You're staying right where you're at. Y'all, listen, I'm telling you, if you would just say these out loud, you would catch your mistakes. McDonald's Wi-Fi. If you guys will bring me yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. McDonald's Wi-Fi getting 100 points. Matthew Rose, if you will bring me yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 200 points there. Last but not least, winter potatoes, if you will bring me yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 200 points there. Just in case a question exactly like this is your question of the day, hint, 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 winkety, wink, wink, wink. And just in case every single person on your team has to get it right, I would really watch this. I told you I wasn't worried about your mixed number at all. What would my whole number be? William, what would it have to be? Guys, if I've got 4 entire grids shaded, my whole number is 4. Now, guys, my part of my whole is going to be my fraction. Guys, I got people missing the denominator. Look at those grids. Raise your hand if you can tell me what my denominator would have to be. Armani? 4. That's my denominator, my total. Sanaya? Guys, I got people saying 10. You see 100 pieces or 10 pieces?
100.
It's got to be in hundreds here. But Armani, how many are shaded? Can everybody with me say this out loud? 4
and 400.
I know people aren't doing that because this is what I saw. Almost everybody who missed it put those. Read these with me. 4
and 4/10.
Not even close to that, guys.
4 and 400.
Completely different than 400. It's the one we did earlier. We kind of started the day with this. If it's 4 and 400s, I have to have 2 numbers at the decimal. But if I have a single digit numerator, the 0 has to go in the front. It would be 4 and 400. Just like that. Does anybody have a question on where I got that? Look, you've seen that now 3 or 4 times already. Okay. But I need you to do this. We're going to take a little pause for our question of the day. Line up 4 king and queen.